Dobe. Not my story. Hatred, pain, loneliness, words he had known all too well through his life. These 3 words summed up all of the feelings that swallowed his pure heart. Naruto. The Dobe. The pariah. The demon, that's all he was to the people of Konoha. Sure, he had special people he cared about. But deep down he wondered if they truly did care. Kakashi was his jounin instructor. Yet he seemed uninterested in teaching Naruto anything useful. Sakura was a bad case of one-sided infatuation that ended in nothing but a deeper pit of loneliness that engulfed him. Iruka, his academy instructor and close friend, was one of the few people who did care for him. However, he sometimes noticed the doubt that chipped away at his dear friend. Jiraiya, whether he would show it or not, had always been there for the boy since he met him. Yet Jiraiya was often far too busy to do anything for him. Tsunade, the Hokage herself, was one of his most important people. She was his surrogate mother. And he knew she would always be there for him. As for the rest of Rookie 9, Naruto had serious doubts of their true feelings towards him. Finally, there was Sasuke. The boy was his good friend. But Naruto had always resented the boy deep down for his swift mastery over everything and him being a beacon of perfection for everybody. What made Sasuke so much better than him? Nothing, it would seem. Seeing as how Naruto's Rasengan had defeated him, Naruto was fed up with the way he was treated in Konoha. Even upon defeating Sasuke, nobody thanked him or even acknowledged him for his feat. He began to become distant upon his return to Konoha. He sat in Team 7's training ground and began to boil in anger. Those few people that did care about Naruto were overshadowed by the 14 years of neglect and punishment inflicted on him by the citizens of Konoha. His hindrances from the academy instructors, his lack of training, and his lack of respect from his teammates sent him over the edge. Darkness flooded his vision and he felt a burning sensation over his entire body. His eyes felt like acid was being poured into them. Errrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr A man with golden, orange hair was standing over Konoha. He looked closely at this man, which could have resembled his older self, wearing a black robe with red clouds on it. The man had many piercings that covered his emotionless face. Suddenly, the man raised his hand and a huge explosion covered the entire city. A small smile marked the man's face as witnessed the devastation. The man began to chuckle at his handiwork, and soon became full-out laugh. As his laughter echoed throughout Naruto's mind, he soon heard the Kyuubi's demonic fox laughter join in. Naruto was then engulfed in the explosion. Naruto woke in an all too familiar flooded hallway and knew where he was. He followed the usual path to Kyuubi's prison, wondering if the fox was behind his strange meltdown. "Hey fox! Why don't you explain to me what's going on?" the boy demanded. Kyuubi came to the front of the cage to make eye contact with the boy and gave him an evil glare. "Your lack of respect is starting to irritate me, mortal. I am the great Kyuubi and you will address me as such," the giant fox snarled, pacing back and forth in his cage. Naruto merely shrugged off the fox's threat like it was nothing. "There must be some reason you brought me here then. Because I don't willingly come here, last I checked." The Kyuubi just slammed his head against the cage. "I simply wanted to talk to you about that pity party you were having before you passed out. Instead of wasting all of your energy trying to please people who obviously have no concern for you, I suggest you turn the tables." Naruto stared at the Kyuubi, confused. "What do you mean, turn the tables?" The demon fox grinned at him in a strange way. "Instead of letting them walk all over you and waste your time for nothing, I suggest you harness your rage and let it fuel your ambitions." Kyuubi elaborated further, knowing the blonde genin wouldn't understand what he meant. "You could rule this world, kid, with all of the powers you have. But instead you let others beat you down and cling to some fairy tale notion that you'll be Hokage one day. They'll never accept you for Hokage over their precious Uchiha. Or when that corrupt council is there. It's time to face the facts, kid. Become strong or live in your pathetic puddle of self-pity and misery." The Kyuubi's rant was something Naruto wasn't expecting. Deep down in the pit of his soul he knew the Kyuubi was right about everything, no matter how hard he worked to live by their doctrines and to please them. Konoha had no love for the blonde ninja. "What would you have me do, Kyuubi-sama?" the boy asked desperately. The fox was somewhat surprised by the complete change in attitude the boy seemed to take. Kyuubi laughed inwardly at the thought of Naruto killing people. "Okay, kid. I have great plans for you. First thing is you should leave this worthless village. As long as you remain here they will only hinder your potential with their pathetic misguided sense of morality." "You mean leave and become bad?" "I'm not like that, fox, I can't do that to other people." The Kyuubi interrupted him with a fierce roar. This is the real world. Everything worth having is something you have to fight for. To bleed for. To kill for. Naruto cringed over the red chakra flooding the room now. I can't leave. What would Tsunade say or Jiraiya? Kuwabai sighed. They won't be here forever. And when they're gone, then what will be here for you? Naruto stood frozen for a minute, torn by conflicting feelings of anguish and the loyalty he held to his home. Finally he spoke up. I won't leave them behind and betray Konoha. The Kuwabai had a painfully annoyed look on his face. Your ignorance to your untapped potential is disgusting. With those eyes of yours and my power combined, you could become a living god. What do you mean by my eyes? Naruto questioned bitterly. The fox just laughed at him. Go live in your pathetic dream of love and acceptance a bit longer. Eventually you will wake up. Naruto could only hear the Kuwabai's maniacal laughter as his vision went dark once again. He awoke in Team 7's training grounds where he had previously passed out. His entire body burned like he had slept in a fire. His vision was nothing but a blinding white light as he felt the acidic burning in his eyes once again. He blinked several times and felt the cool touch of rain pouring over his entire body. Slowly his vision was returning to normal. The rain soothed him and he just let it soak him to relax. Slowly the blonde got up and began to go over his conversation with Kuwabai in his head. I wonder what he meant by my eyes, the boy thought to himself as he slowly got up and walked past the bridge looking into his reflection in the water. From what he could make out from the rain splashing and rippling the water, his eyes were still his normal shade of blue. Then suddenly they began to turn purple. He gasped and fell back shocked by what he had just seen. He looked back into the water and they were blue again. Do I have some kind of jujutsu nobody else has, the blonde thought to himself as he began to walk home to his apartment. Along the way he passed the Konoha library which was closed for the night. Maybe it's worth looking into purple-eyed jujutsus, best I keep this to myself. No telling what the council would do if they found out I had a bloodline. Naruto snuck into the library with no trouble at all and turned on a light. He began to go through the shelves looking for anything relating to bloodlines or jujutsus. What's this shit, Sharingan? Uchiha. Blah blah blah. Fuck the Sharingan. The blonde thought to himself. Then he stopped reading for a moment, somewhat shocked by his thought process. Why am I being so hostile, the boy thought to himself. After about an hour of uneventful skimming through bloodline books he sighed heavily. Maybe I'm just going crazy, the boy thought to himself. He put all the books back where he found them and accidentally knocked one off the shelf. He picked up the book reading the title. Rakudo Sennin, he said aloud to himself, opening the book curious about it. He found himself captivated by the contents of the book. It explained about the Sage of Six Paths who created ninjutsu and was known as the founder of the ninja world. That wasn't what caught his attention. It was also mentioned that the man was said to have possessed purple eyes with rings in them known as the Rinnegan. It was said to be the most powerful jujutsu ever known that could allow the user to master all 6 forms of chakra and so much more. Naruto didn't know what to think of what he had just read. It would be hard for him to believe somebody like him could be a descendant of the most powerful ninja in history. There's no way, it can't be true. I'm an orphan with no clan. How would this be possible, the blonde thought to himself. A voice rang in his head and it only took him half a second to know who it was. The pieces are beginning to fall in place. Soon you will begin to understand. Naruto pushed the voice out of his head and decided to continue home. It was late by this time. But his apartment was only a block away. He leaped over the rooftops to get there quickly and landed in front of his door. What a crazy day, the poor genin thought to himself as he collapsed soaked on his couch. He looked at his picture of Team 7 and stared at it. A tremor of rage washed over him and he suddenly threw it at the wall, shattering the frame to pieces. A single tear rolled down his face as he felt a sinking feeling in his heart. Everything I've done, for what, the boy thought to himself as he was flooded with flashbacks of his childhood running from mobs of angry villagers. And the painful beatings he would receive. Sarutobi the old man Hokage was the only thing that made the assault stop. But Naruto never forgot the horrors he'd experienced hiding on his birthday just to avoid the inevitable near-death experience he received once a year. Naruto finally fell asleep after long hours of anger and pain surfacing in him. He had the same dream again of the cloaked man destroying Konoha. But this time Naruto looked closely at the man. He had purple eyes with rings, the Rinnegan. Naruto woke to the warm sunlight bathing his still-soaked body. He took the time to get up and take a shower. Trying to forget the terrible visions floating around in the back of his mind. He prepared his favorite meal as he decided on what he was going to do today. Maybe I should go see how Sasuke's doing in the hospital, he thought cheerfully, trying not to remember his dark feelings from the day before. As he made his way to the hospital he was intercepted by none other Kakashi, who had a grim look on his face. He greeted Naruto with a serious tone. Hey Naruto. Good to see you're okay, I just got back from seeing Sasuke. He's in intensive care. You must have really messed him up in that fight. Naruto looked at him dumbfounded. Intensive care? Seriously, the masked Jounin looked away from Naruto as he spoke quietly. You had good intentions trying to bring him back. It was his own fault for forcing you to hurt him like that. But there is no telling how the council will take it. Apparently there was only one eyewitness, you are not going to like who it is either. Naruto had a serious look on his face and spoke. Eyewitness? Am I in some kind of trouble with the council? Kakashi looked dead serious and replied softly. If Sasuke dies you're going to be stripped of your ninja rank. And right now this eyewitness is saying you forced violence on Sasuke after he surrendered. And tried to execute him with a raise-non. Naruto was shocked beyond belief, shit just got real. Seems it was raining bad luck this week, he thought to himself as he asked. Who is this eyewitness? Kakashi said. Jounin looked down at the ground and spoke the name Naruto was dreading to hear. Sakura. No. Why her of all people? The blonde thought to himself. That pink-haired Barbie bitch is going to get butchered and eviscerated. The Kyuubi's voice echoed in Naruto's head. Naruto looked pleadingly at his sensei. Please tell me you don't believe her. Kakashi-sensei, you think I would purposely kill Sasuke? Kakashi looked sad for the first time Naruto could ever remember and he merely shrugged. I know you aren't the kind of person to do that, Naruto. But Sakura's side of the story will carry far more support than yours, especially because of your predicament. The Jounin took a moment before continuing. Please don't blame her. She doesn't understand what this implies to the council. She would eat a raise-non if I had my way, haha. Seriously though, kid. Walk away now before this shitstorm blows in your face. The fox laughed. Naruto looked at Kakashi one last time before leaving. Well, take care, Kakashi-sensei, I'm going to see if I can sort this out. The masked ninja looked at him with waning hope. Good luck, Naruto. Though I doubt this is going to end well. Kakashi wandered away silently, wishing he could do more for his sensei's son. If that kid gets out of this skirmish I'm going to have to train him more. Kakashi thought to himself. Impressive that he beat Sasuke. Though I doubt he knows what Sakura saw could only have scared her. Meanwhile, Naruto had just arrived at the hospital to find Sasuke in stable condition after Tsunade saved his life. Naruto walked in the room and was greeted with mixed stares from its inhabitants. Tsunade and Shizune had offered warm greetings to him while Danzo, Sakura, and several unnamed council members glared at him as if he just killed their family. Danzo spoke up in his usual cocky, self-assured attitude. What brings the criminal back to the crime scene? Without even masking his pure malice at this man, Naruto simply replied. I suggest you leave, old man, before you end up like him. Tsunade looked at Naruto, shocked that the happy-go-lucky blonde would threaten a counselor and the head of Root. Your violent outbursts will only further diminish you in the eyes of your peers, who will all soon see you for what you really are. The old man smiled. He's at the top of my hit list right now, don't let that cocky bitch of a man tell you off like that, kid. Naruto looked at Danzo, knowing what he meant, and spoke darkly. For somebody who's supposedly very smart, you chose the worst people to have as an enemy. Tsunade finally spoke up, interrupting their argument. Enough, Danzo, you are dismissed. Naruto and I need to talk. All of you out now? You too, Sakura. The pink-haired Kunoichi was about to argue, but Tsunade gave her a death glare, so she walked out. But not before giving Naruto the most disgusting look of hatred he had ever seen. When they were alone, Tsunade looked over at Sasuke's body and then back at Naruto. Do you know what you did to him, Naruto? She questioned with a worried look on her face. Naruto merely nodded and relayed. I defeated him with a raise-non at the Valley of the End. And hauled his ass all the way back to Konoha. Your raise-non almost pierced his heart. And is being viewed as an attempted execution of Sasuke by the council. Sakura claims you were glowing red and had an evil look on your face. You making enemies of Danzo won't help your situation either. Tsunade explained. Naruto had only one thing to say. I'm fucked, huh? Tsunade gasped at his language, not expecting this kind of response. This is only going to end one way if I wait, he said out loud to himself. Tsunade was staring at him, utterly confused now. I don't believe Sakura's bullshit, Naruto. But you can't deny that your attitude lately will lead many to believe it is true. Tsunade spoke sadly. Are you okay, Naruto? Is there anything you want to talk about? I'm here for you. Naruto was about to tell her about his dreams and the Rinnegan when Kyuubi shouted in his head. Don't tell her about that, she wouldn't understand. For some reason, Naruto believed the fox had a decent point in this matter. Telling the Hokage that you were pissed off lately around the time of being charged with attempt to murder a teammate would be bad news. No. I'm fine, I'll see you tomorrow, Hokage-sama. The blonde spoke to the older woman who was trying to figure out the puzzle of Naruto's emotions. She knew he was hiding something. But there would be no point in trying to force it out of him. Tsune then walked away chugging down a bottle of sake she somehow acquired. Naruto walked over to Sasuke at his bedside and looked at the sleeping Uchiha, hoping he would be okay. He placed his hitai-ite, I think that's how you say it, by Sasuke's bedside, and he walks to the door only to be intercepted by our favorite pink-haired ninja. Come here to finish the job, Dobe. I hope the council takes away everything from you for almost taking away Sasuke-kun from me. Naruto just gave her a plain smirk and said quietly. I'm sick of you trying to justify reasons to hate me, Sakura, you're just like the rest of them. His eyes started burning again as he glared at her. She took a step back, fearfully regretting what she said. Naruto. What are you doing? She was beginning to whimper as his eyes were flashing different shades between purple, red and blue. She's number 2 on that hit list, I can think of 1,000 ways to end her worthless life. Kuwabai echoed once again. Naruto then just pushed her out of the way and walked down the hallway. She fell to the ground with tears in her eyes as he walked down the hallway and punched a random civilian in the face, knocking him out cold. I think I've overstayed my welcome, the blonde thought as he began to understand why Kuwabai was in a hurry for him to leave. Sooner or later some umbu might take him into custody. He made his way to the northern gate. As he began to walk out, he was surprised to see the gate guards weren't at their posts. Assuming this was his one chance, he began to run for it out of the village. He made it a good way out and thought he was clear. About an hour or so of running later, he took a quick break to recollect his energy he would need to make the long journey to Wave Country to stay with some old friends.